Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Today is the 21st of August. Last day in the sun sign of Leo. Tomorrow it makes a transition from Leo to the next sign over, which is Virgo. So today we're wrapping things up with our fire. Wrapping things up with fire and what is represented by the fire. In this case, ideas, creativity, all of the different things about Leo the lion, strength, righteousness. All of that is coming to a conclusion today. So we're wrapping up all of those ideas and we're getting ready to move into the next sign, which is an earth sign. So we're going with those ideas. Now we're going to think about ways to bring those ideas into reality. Really bring them into focus. Okay. Today we have a moon sign, which is Cancer, just like it was yesterday. So we have water. So we have fire and water are the two elements we're dealing with today. Fire are the ideas. Water is the emotions. The emotions in this case are underlying the unconscious that are fueling what is going on in life, fueling the ideas. So we want to take and apply the feelings that we've accumulated to the ideas that we have. We could see that there's been a number of things that have already taken place over the course of today. This morning here we have an opposition that took place here between our moon sign and Pluto, deep transformation and feelings. We've got at 9:48 a.m. we have Mars is in a nice good trine with Cancer. So that, again, that's intense energy of Mars with emotions and feelings. But there's a nice good harmonious vibe there, which is good because if feelings allow the energy to get out of control, it can be warlike and crazy. We have a lesson we're dealing with Uranus, taking a new perspective of things in regards to our emotional world. This is just before noon. Right after noon, that wounded healer needs to take a look at some things and the emotions that are affecting it. Again, we want to understand we don't want to get into the place of being a victim. We want to understand that we can rise above our injuries, the things that need to be healed. We all have things that we heal within ourselves. And then as we get into the afternoon, Mercury, communication, and Pluto, that transformation is going to be in a nice good aspect. And then later, after that, we've got the moon sign and Saturn and discipline are going to be doing the dance. Again, nice good trines. So really the toughest lesson we're going to be dealing with is just before noon on the Pacific coast, which is taking a new perspective because our emotions obviously get affected. A square between Uranus right here and Cancer. Alright, so we want to make sure we have our armor on of protection. Now we're moving from there into our numerology for today. Numerology today is number 9. This is the way we've arrived at the number 9. 8 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. That is adding up to an 18. 1 plus 8 equals a 9. So today would be a 9, the last of the single numbers. 9 is the Hermit. 9 is the Hermit who holds the lantern high for others to see, because the Hermit went into solitude, was patient, understood the necessity of timing, and now is going out into the world holding the lantern high for others to see because of all of these things applied. Hermit also has overcome any obstacles dealing with that wounded healer inside. So very important what the Hermit represents and what it's about. We look over at the tarot. Let's take a look at the Hermit today, number 9. It says the Hermit represents the one identity, or the I am. He represents the consciousness of the man who has attained enlightenment, and he stands on the mountain peaks as a light bearer for those below him on the path. He is solitary, alone. Symbolism points to the fact that in reality the essential self is one of us, which seems to us to be separate from every other. Self is the same one identity, because the key represents the one identity, also symbolizes will. Since we are manifested, universe came into being by an act of the primal will with the one identity. The Hermit's gray robe, by its color, symbolizes the neutralization of all parts of opposites and manifestation by each other, because opposite colors mixed equally produce gray. The staff corresponds to will in the archetypal world. He stands in darkness because what is behind the personifications of the supreme deity is dark and incomprehensible to our intellects. Yet he carries the golden six-rayed light, symbolizing cosmic principles and laws. As our consciousness awakens to the understanding of these laws, the darkness recedes as the light shines more brightly, until at last we find ourselves upon the heights which we now aspire. Let's take a look at the tree of life. Things are with me. Okay, here we have the Hermit right here, sun sign, and here we have the moon sign for today. Okay, so Cancer, Leo, Hermit. Just to see the placement of these things there. Let's take a look at the moon phase here. 14% full, making its way down to the new moon. Shows us that as soon as the stars come out, the great square of Pegasus stands low in the east. It's balancing on one corner, and your fist at arm's length fit inside. It rises through the evening and floats highest overhead around 2 or 3 a.m. And we go look at the Mayan Oracle today. It's a 9-tone day, which is called the solar tone of intention. We have the blue eagle guided by the monkey. So the intention of our vision guided by our magic or playfulness. Our position right here on the wave spell, or the theme. It's the theme of accomplishment, and today we're at the vision of accomplishment. And the intention of vision. So we want to apply all those things today. What our vision is, what we intend, what we're trying to accomplish. All of these things go together. The phrase for today is I pulse in order to create realizing mind. I seal the output of vision with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of magic. Okay, and the Gregorian calendar, or at space weather, our solar wind is 335.8 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is between a 2 and a 3. M-class flare is a 10. X-class 1. Geomagnetic storm activity is in the 25 range. In the high latitudes, mid latitudes, down as low as a 5, even a 1. So that's what's going on there. And on the Jewish calendar, today is 25 Av. Daily thought for today is: when is a relationship real? When is it broken down? As long as each fulfills the other's expectations, there is only a contract. But the people, as they are people, are not involved. Once trust is breached, then a new depth enters, the depth of the human being. If there is truly a relationship, if it is the person inside that matters, then there is a search for forgiveness, for return, and for healing. So it was that within 40 days of entering into a contract with the one above, the children of Israel broke the deal, and the soul below and the one above discovered that they could not part from one another. Alright, very good. So there you go. That gets us started for today. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alright, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today's UFO news starts off in Sacramento, California. First sighting here says 2 days in a row, a golden UFO. Alright, this golden UFO was seen this week not once but twice by the same person. She's afraid to call it a UFO out of fear of what people will think of her, so it will do for her. It is a UFO, as I have said as many times. If you want to see a UFO, then look during the sunset and your chances are the highest. The fact that she photographed it twice is proof that a UFO is not a weather phenomenon. Let me explain. As light hits a cloaked object, it must bend around the UFO at 180 degrees. But during sunset, the cloak will not function properly because no sun is at a 90-degree angle and the light is being directed 270 degrees, but is designed to bend the light only 180. Therefore, UFO is most vulnerable during sunset. Alright. And there we go. There's the object. Very interesting. Okay. And there you go. We know that if she saw it, she saw it. So she doesn't need to be afraid to let us know what she saw, because we know these things exist. Clinton Township, Michigan, cigar-shaped object following a storm cloud. Photographs of a cylindrical UFO were taken in the sky above Clinton Township in Michigan on Tuesday, 19th of August. Witness says, I was taking pictures with my Nikon D3100 camera using an 18mm 55mm lens to capture lighting strikes from a storm that was heading over my residence. The storm came in from the west and was moving southeast, and I had my camera on continuous shooting. The lightning bolt was discharging from the wall cloud and only became a lightning bolt came from this cloud within a few seconds after the bolt struck. I managed to capture 2 pictures of this object. After taking approximately 145 photos of the storm, I saw 2 pictures with the cigar-shaped object following the south end of the wall cloud. I did not see the object at all while shooting them. It was only visible after I viewed my photos on the computer. There we go. It's moving from the cigar-shaped object in Michigan to Alaska. Ketchikan, Alaska, the 19th. There we go. Nice, good picture there. Enlarged for us. This witness says, I was on a small cruise ship touring in the Ketchikan area, the Tongass Narrows, with a group of co-workers and friends. At about 8 p.m. I was taking some photos in the sunset with my iPhone. I took 3 shots of the sunset. The following evening, as I downloaded my photos to the computer, I noticed a bright light in the sky. Upper left corner of all 3 photos at slightly different angles, since the boat we were traveling was heading north or northwest as I was taking the sunset photos. I did not notice the bright light in the sky as I was taking the photos, yet the object was clearly in the photo. Since I did not see any object directly at the time of the photos, I cannot say it was actually moving in the sky. On the photo, the object or light appears oval, possibly disc-shaped. I have attached 3 original digital photos. Just one. There we go. Up here. Right there. Alright, good shot. In Alaska. Texas, UFO sightings, bright orb over Amarillo. An apparent UFO activity was captured in a video shot by Dallas Chambers, a DJ at Amarillo-based radio station Kiss FM 96.9 in Texas. Chambers said that he saw several people pulled over in the roadside to witness a mysterious blue light in the sky. According to Chambers, they were somewhat stunned to see the light dancing across the sky of Amarillo. Chambers posted a copy of his video on the radio station's website, where he writes in the description that he saw the light for quite a while. He also asked somebody who might be responsible for flying the RC plane or helicopter to help. Shed light on mysterious aerial phenomena. He says that he would like to think it was a UFO until there's somebody who will strongly claim that he or she was controlling the plane or something similar. Okay? And this is the Roswell Rock. This is part of an episode of Search for Aliens, Giorgio's new show, Giorgio's Tacolis. Last month, the Roswell Record incorrectly reported a small stone found by Robert Ridge in December 2004, 11 miles from the supposed 1947 flying saucer crash site in New Mexico, would be featured on Ancient Aliens this month. Instead, the object, known since 2008 as the Roswell Rock, is the focus for this episode of In Search of Aliens. The Roswell Rock, a small stone carved in low relief with a layered image composed of a background of a circle surroundings. Alright, well, I can certainly tell you a little bit about this rock because I had an opportunity. I think it was even it might have been 2008, 2009, to hold the rock. I was there in Roswell. We were there for our show, and I met the gentleman who found this rock. And I asked him if I could hold the rock. I held the rock. I could feel it had a little bit of weight to it. Very interesting because the way that these things are engraved. You really look at this, and it does make you wonder how this happened. It just wasn't little tools and scrapings. There was something machined, definitely going on here. I did hold it up to my third eye. I did feel a little bit of energy from it, but it's very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. What's it all mean? I don't know. But it certainly is fascinating on just the way it is machined, and there it is. So this was a subject of this particular episode, and the link is here so you can check it all out. Alright? Very interesting rock indeed. Now let's move over from here to UFO Digest, a story, Strange Humanoid Encounters with Transient Visitors. At some point in the 80s, I have a conversation with Dr. Rafael A. Laura Palermo's director of research for Mexico's CEFP organization, regarding the motives of individuals to develop unhealthy attraction to UFO and paranormal phenomena. Dr. Laura mentioned a case involving a certain gentleman from central Mexico who openly expressed his wish to be contacted by aliens, as that would be the solution to all his problems, real or imagined. He went as far as to offer money, not small amounts either, to any researcher, contactee, or psychic who could make his wish come true. The wish was not granted as far as I know. Indeed, the gentleman should have been admonished for being careful about what he had hoped for, the time-honored admonition. In fact, some people would gladly trade away their negative experiences for free. Some cases involving humanoid encounters appear to go unnoticed in the vast rush to publish stories in magazines or to make them known to TV production companies. One of these unsullied gems was researched by Ramon Nava Osorio of Spain's IIEE organization. Readers of Inexplicata will often see mention being made of the IIEE's branch in Chile. Well looked into the experiences of Juan Soler, a Spanish explorer of the kind referenced to the 1970s as a repeater person who has multiple brushes with the unknown. In the spring of '77, Soler had gone to a farm with his brother-in-law and had just purchased a Binifar in the Spanish province of Huesca, hoping to lend him a hand with the plumbing and sundry duties. Once the chores were complete, both men boarded their respective cars, drove away. Soler, however, had trouble with his ignition, made a wrong turn down the country road that led him to an open field. The road came to an abrupt end, marked by a large tool shed surrounded by farm equipment, and it was at the inopportune moment that the engine died. Things were about to get markedly worse. According to Soler, who was struggling with the ignition, he noticed a strange figure appear out of nowhere, an entity with a shocking physical appearance. This is how he described it to Ramon Nava Osorio. It had no neck. Its big round head was directly joined to the body. Its head was enormous and ended in a green-colored crest that resembled a fin. The fin seemed to have something like a corkscrew halfway down. The body was covered in large scales, some 3 centimeters in diameter, green and darker than the rest of the skin. Stunned as I was, I then saw a second and third figure appear, all of them having similar characteristics. The third figure walked to the middle of all three, turned and looked at me. They came from the same place and walked like regular people. I was able to see their eyes, which looked like they were horses' eyes, round, bulging, black and white, and they showed anger. There were considerable distance between the eyes, and they had no noses and small mouths, carrying something in their hands that I couldn't see clearly. I felt invaded by a sense of terror. It was a hellish nightmare. As I kept looking at them, I continued to turn the key of the ignition, and the engine started. Until the engine started, I put the car in reverse without looking, and I got out there best as I could. I normally tend to revisit places where I've had experience but never gone back there. All right, very interesting. Interesting indeed. And let's move on. One last story. And this last piece here is a piece having to do with the conference that just took place 2 weeks ago in the desert. It's nice, good, as you'll see here, a nice lengthy article. It says, last weekend, I attended the Contact in the Desert event in Joshua Tree, California, along with almost 2,000 other people, braving temperatures exceeding the 100-degree mark. All ages and walks of life showed up with an amazing sense of community, with just one thing on their minds. What is the truth about the UFO phenomenon? The event kicked off Saturday in the amphitheater with a lecture by the great world-renowned author and researcher Erich von Däniken titled Remnants of the Gods. Though he was not able to use any of his slides for the outdoor presentation, he held his audience riveted to every detail for an hour and 15 minutes in the ultra-hot, high desert sun. I'm pretty sure the audience would have rather suffered heat stroke than leave. After Erich von Däniken's lecture, I was one of the lucky survivors to make my way to an air-conditioned building where I was treated by my dear friend Dr. Lynn Katai's presentation, Beyond the Phoenix Lights. Anyone familiar with the Phoenix Lights mass sighting will be glad to know that there is an updated version of Lynn's best-selling book and an updated documentary with some fantastic new bonus material. I urge everyone to go to our website, phoenixlights.net. The most horrible thing about the event was the inability to be everywhere at once. Having to pick and choose whose presentation you want to attend can be a source of frustration, especially when two of your friends are presenting at the same time. I had this dilemma the whole weekend. When tickets originally went on sale, I of course went to the line and bought tickets for whatever workshops I wanted to see, and even though the schedule wasn't available at the time, as a result, of course, double-booked many events. Thanks to the kindness of the staff there, I was able to get it all straightened out in the best possible fashion, as I could at least try to catch everyone. I had full days, though, from sunup till midnight every day. I have to admit I did miss a couple of lectures due to the effects of the heat and the altitude. I've come to the conclusion that us pale Central Californians don't do well in the high desert without some acclimation. All right, there's more to the article. More to the article, indeed, a lot more. But it was a very good experience out there. Very good experience. Good article, really kind of addresses what went on in a nice manner. A lot of great speakers, a lot of great information, a lot of great folks out there. One of the things that really was a surprise for the staff, not really a surprise, but was something that stood out, was the attendance. Because last year the attendance was only about 700-800. This year it was close to 2,000. So it is a good confirmation that people in the world want to know what's going on with the UFO phenomena. And there were people that were out there that I met that were from all around the world. So it wasn't just a California-based event or a United States-based event. It was an event that involved people from around the world. And certainly with Erich von Däniken there, he really brought that flavor of, other than the United States to the picture, because he himself is, from elsewhere. So they have a website. If you want to go back, check and see who was there. You can go read the article, look up more articles. But it was a good event. Good event indeed. That is our UFO news. I'll be back momentarily, and we will continue on. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace. Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love, send down your love to us from above. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Oh, 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 oh.
All right, let's continue on. Continuing on, this is an interesting story here. Just kind of shows what's going on with the oceans. No room for beach towel. Billions of mysterious jelly, fish-like creatures wash up on beaches all along the west coast of the U.S. Okay, look at this. Wow. Millions of these creatures which ride wind and currents were washed up in La Push, creating a virtual carpet of them on the beach. Wow. That's pretty amazing. The creatures known as by the wind sailors, or their scientific name of vela. The jellyfish-like creatures each measure around 7 to 10 centimeters, are bright blue and distinguished by the gas-filled float that rises above the surface of the water. This fin-like creature structure means that the direction of travel depends entirely on the winds and the currents. The number of vela that have washed up on the North American beaches is staggering, with possibility of billions being stranded. Kevin Raskoff, professor of biology at Monterey Presidency College, told scpr.org the numbers, if you extrapolate, are awe-inspiring. With some of my students, we counted more than 1,000 per meter. The numbers get astronomical pretty fast. Experts find the creatures perplexing, as little is known about their true nature. The creatures are similar to jellyfish, as they sting to stun their prey, though they're not capable of causing humans much pain, and have a similar structure. They are sustained by feeding on animal plankton and drift about huge flotillas, which can contain millions of individuals. Travel guide Michael Ellis, writing in Bay Nature, said even though velas are very common and distributed throughout the oceans of the world, very is little known about the details of their life. The reproductive polyps apparently bud off small Medusae, miniature jelly-like structures somewhere in the middle of the ocean. They sink to the depths of 7,000 feet and grow gonads which produce sperm or eggs. Very interesting. So the stranding is thought to conclude with the warming up of the coastal waters. Again, I think that this is just a sign, one of the signs that we are seeing that we are in an end time scenario here. When we start to see billions of creatures that should be in the sea, not in the sea but washed up on land, yeah, that something is going on, right? Something is definitely going on. But we're seeing all these things in confirmations. You know, we see the craziness that is taking place in the world with the people. And I tell you, if you keep that book of Revelation handy, keep the other books of prophecy handy, and just go through them, and you'll see that the book of Revelation is unfolding like a script. Players are presenting themselves. It's quite fascinating indeed. And if we look at the script and we understand the script, then we kind of see what's next. Alright, this is the Barbara Marciniak's book, Teachings, The Bringers of the Dawn, Teachings from the Pleadians. We were on chapter 4 last time, so we're going to continue on with chapter 5. Okay, so let's just jump ahead here. Chapter 5. Okay, I think we're about there. Chapter 3. One more to go. There we go. Memories in the free will zone. We read that last time. And here we go. Chapter 5. Who carries the cord of light? You hold the history of the universe within your physical body. What is occurring upon the planet now is the literal mutation of your physical body, for you are allowing it to be evolved to a point where it will be a computer that can house this information. This is going to occur due to biogenic engineering that really has nothing to do with you. You can facilitate the process, of course, by intending cooperation with it. As a species, you are being genetically altered by the beings who created you and who redesigned your DNA at periodic junctures in your history. The time period was designed by the original creator gods or project designers for them to come back, to take over this place and return it to the original plan. Millions have been called to participate in this project. Millions have said, yes, we are renegades. Let us go and take back the project and see if we can set it all right. We will rebuild the ruins and put it together. So the plans have been drawn and designs made and the genetics studied to find out who carries the recessive genes and the cord of light inside of them. You have selected with great clarity the parentage that genetically provides, genealogically provides you with the fullest accessibility of combinations of light-encoded filaments that can potentially evolve. Before you came into this body, all of you committed to designing events that would fire your codings or blueprints, that would activate your memories. Then you came into the body and you forgot. All of you have had your blueprint and your codings fired to some extent because you understand that there is a divine purpose or a divine plan that you're a part of. The firing of these codings and the realization of your identity are going to become phenomenally intense. The reason for this is the evolving DNA. When you have 12 helixes of DNA in place, these helixes will begin to plug into the 12 chakra system. The 12 chakras are vortex centers loaded with information that you must be able to translate. You are evolving yourself even when you are not on the planet, and you are perhaps more involved with the other identities of yourself. Therefore, to evolve, you pick particularly challenging situations in which you have to rise beyond what has been established as your ceiling or your boundary of what is possible. You have to become super beings in whatever reality you enter, because as members of Family of Light, the branch of renegades, this is your forte. You purposely came to this planet to give yourself such a challenge so that you could be defiant, not in a way that would give you problems or create disharmony, but in a way that would create harmonic defiance. Through your harmony, you are defiant towards the old vibrational frequency. Part of the friction you feel with others is that you are on the path of evolution and bursting forth. Others don't like this because they are not coded at the same time to respond the way you are. Some people are not coded at all for this. Some knew the plan of change and came here at this time to be observers. Some timid beings came here knowing that if they had the courage to step onto this planet while realizing what a blueprint of the planet was, that somehow this would be an accreditation of their own conscious journey and would catapult them into the higher consciousness, even if their own participation in the transition was simply to be here. Just to be in the vicinity of this kind of activity is empowering. So give due credit to all who are on the planet at this time, who have decided to be participants in the great frequency change. All of these participants are necessary because the more frequencies that are here on the planet, the more energy that can be built to alter the old frequency. Those who have opened themselves up to light are literally having their bodies rearranged. Sometimes you wake up at night and you literally feel the arrangement. This arrangement of the body is the restructuring of the DNA. Your DNA is a filament. A scientist would describe it as a connective filament. Scientists doing their best can put up with this point and have found certain codings within certain portions of the DNA. They've also found some superfluous portions of the DNA. In other words, there are portions that they cannot translate or figure out. So they think these portions of DNA are just there for the ride, and they call them junk DNA, but they are off track. We have talked to you about how they were built by the creator gods. You were built like houses that are going to be expanded or added to into the future. You are now at the juncture of those who are designed. You're adding on to what you are. What the scientists call junk DNA may have been dormant in your body for a long time and is now becoming activated. In our teachings, we always emphasize the importance of oxygenation because oxygen feeds the coatings and awakens the junk DNA in your body, which certainly isn't junk at all. What scientists call junk houses the perceptions deep inside of your body that will allow you to become an entire perceiver, a fourth dimensional being. This awakening DNA will allow you to change your eyesight, change your hearing, increase your lifespan, and so on. The dormant part of the DNA that has baffled the scientists is now coming to life. You are mutating so quickly that certain scientists call this process a disease. Some are very concerned about it. They have persuaded the government to invest billions of dollars to research DNA. What is occurring in your body is certainly not a disease. You are being naturally mutated and rearranged. This mutation occurs most often when you are sleeping, so that you may be waking in the mornings, noticing something feels a little different in your body. You can expect that the changes will begin to show themselves, and that you will develop new abilities. You will automatically know many things. The original designers of the human body were benevolent beings. These original creator gods were very generous in endowing you biogenically with tremendous vitality of spirit and a tremendous zest of capability. Much of this information is stored within your body in the light-encoded filaments that are scattered and are coming back into alignment. Your bones and skeletal form correspond with that information. When your skeletal form is in alignment, the energy from sacred power sites is released. The cosmic rays are pulled into your body, and the light-encoded filaments inside your cells begin to reorder themselves. You will find that you are in the change. The change will be mirrored to you everywhere you look. The present evolutionary system designed by the creator gods to step you up in number of dimensions or frequencies is based upon the evolution of the 12 helixes that correspond to the 12 chakra centers, 7 within your body and 5 outside. This is simply the way the system plugs in. With respect to the evolution of these helixes within the body, a common denominator frequency must be attained that even those in the lowest possible stations can reach. There are also those humans that could go beyond these 12 helixes. In general, however, the state of consciousness of humanity cannot achieve that kind of acceleration. It is enough of a leap for people to go from a double helix to a 12 helix system. Some people will be functioning with the 12 helixes within a short period of time, while others around the planet will not receive this shift until later in the decade. This is simply because each individual is coded to be given the frequency when they are capable of integrating it. Many are already having a difficult time integrating the changes at this early stage of the plan. A large majority of the humans on Earth have convinced themselves that there is only one reality, and there can be no other. This could be the downfall of the human race. As the helixes come into full force in a person, there is an awakening of the person's inner knowledge, knowledge that goes beyond what the person has been taught. This inner knowledge is knowledge of self, knowledge that says there is much more than the physical world. Believe it or not, understand it. The physical world is glued to the spiritual world. The world of spirit and self-evolution is on the verge of an information explosion. Cheap energy, free energy, everything will be given to you. All of this is related to the evolving light-encoded filaments, which are millions and billions of tiny little fibers. As we related the story to you, the radiating creator gods who came in and took over needed to have you operate in a certain way in order to control you. They needed to unplug your intelligence, and so they did by scattering and disconnecting the light-encoded filaments that form the helixes in your DNA. These filaments are now beginning to reconnect into helixes. The helixes will evolve into sets of 3 until there are 12 strands or helixes. When these 12 helixes or strands of many light-encoded filaments begin to vibrate within the body, each of the strands will correspond to a chakra center. There are multitudes of chakra centers, and there are multitudes of potential helixes that can form. Right now, the common denominator with respect to the number of helixes in the chakras that the consciousness of humanity can handle without destroying itself is 12. So we're dealing right now with an evolvement of 12 helixes to plug into the 12 chakras as mentioned before. 7 chakras in the body, 5 chakras outside the body. The 7 chakras in the body are not too difficult to work with, because if you allow yourself to feel, you can physically touch and locate all of them. The first 3 of the chakras are survival, sexuality, and perceptual feeling. The 4th is the heart center of compassion, connectedness to all things. The 5th is the throat, which relates to speaking. The 6th, the third eye, the vision. The 7th to the crown chakra, which opens to the knowing that one's identity go beyond the physical form. When you get to the 5 outside of the body, you must begin to find new ways to figure out what is going on with something that you didn't even know for sure is real. The 8th chakra is within your realm of activity. It hovers 12 inches or more above your head. Most people keep the 8th chakra center close to their physical body. The 9th is close as well, within a few feet of the body. Once 9 helixes are formed, the chakras will move out into the atmosphere of the earth to become more of an earth chakra connecting to the grid work. It is a link. The 10th, 11th, 12 are much further out. The 10th chakra, once it is in line and plugged in, will be in the solar system. In your solar system, the 11th chakra will move on to the galactic system. The 12th be located and anchored someplace in the universe. You will receive information from these personal centers, for they are collective centers as well, just as your other personal chakra centers are collective centers. As you learn to translate the chakra experiences, you will discover that life is not the same anymore. Not all people on the planet are going through these changes right now because you are not all coded to respond to this particular time. Each of you came with a certain order of a map when and where you will best operate. Many of you are learning how to follow this plan of self that will lead you to discover your exalted self. Once you learn how to do this, life will become quite effortless because you will become a vehicle for light and you will be moved by just the intention to commit. Different humans will expose to these changes at different times because it would not have to occur all at once. This would create chaos where a certain order is needed. As an individual goes through the changes and translates the experiences, they can turn to someone who assists them with what has already gone through the changes. For those of you who are beginning people, the process can be very difficult. You are way showers. Once you're able to go through the changes, you can make the path and show others. There are road maps that indicate certain events that can occur if you wish to plug into the grid works of time. The greater commitment that you have to every moment of your own evolution, the sooner the changes will occur for the last person. There was a time when the human species occupied higher dimensional frequencies, and you have had the ability to move through realities and manipulate matter. Many of these abilities were purposely scattered by the beings who are in charge of reality. You must understand that every reality has its guardians, and that there are different stewardships and guardians at different times. We're using the term guardian as a neutral fashion. You see the term guardian for someone who is protective. We will say that the guardian is in charge of reality, and perhaps they guard it from others. They don't let others come in and change the reality. Guardians, as we referred to them, are not essentially benevolent, uplifting entities. The entities who are guarding your reality could be keeping out the entities who would set you free. You have forgotten so much because you were retooled, and many of the inherent abilities were scattered and unplugged so you would not work. Control came down over minds in your society. There are veils of protection that would be put around Earth, because if you were to attempt to plug into some of the information, you would not have the tools or the background, the ability to make sense of these realities. Now that the whole planet is immersed in expanding realities, in order to get into these other realities, you will first need to explore very deeply your own reality. There is no time to have 20 years of psychoanalysis. You have to develop skills and abilities within a few hours that will allow you to travel a few decades into your emotional evolution. You're going to have to travel the emotional highway because the human body expresses itself through the emotions. This is the uniqueness and gift of your species. First, you will need to open the emotional highways to areas that you have hidden from yourself in this particular lifetime. Memories may flood in as this data is lined up inside of your memories about events that were difficult for you at that time, or perhaps that you do not have a context for. Some of you may uncover the events of extraterrestrial contact that all of you had when you were children. Some of you may uncover expressions of sexuality you did not understand at the time that you were involved in them, whether you were a passive or active participant. Such things have been buried by the human emotional body because they are very sensitive to judgment, and the mental body passes tremendous judgment. The emotional body linked to the spiritual body hides this from us. You think you know who you are? You have stories of who you are based upon what you remember of growing up in this lifetime. What we want to communicate to you is that you have a number of parallel, legitimate existences that have different memories than you have. You have stopped these memories or didn't focus on the related events because your emotional body could not compute them. All right, you can see there's more to this particular chapter. Well, you know what? Maybe we can finish this one here. You cannot compute that much of what you will tap into is tied to your sexuality because it's a part of yourself that you have not understood, and that you must go into in order to understand its purpose. What is sexuality all about? Who made these rules about appropriate and inappropriate expression of it? Also coming up for you will be the realization of the contracts and the energy that were continuously around many of you when you were younger to teach you. You blocked out these events because you were not given the support to believe they truly occurred. As you begin this multidimensional exploration, the memories that you have hidden from yourself will come forward. You'll be astonished that you have completely forgotten whole events and large chunks of your life, especially events that occurred when you were under 12 years of age. You'll be amazed when you explore the ability of the nervous system to shut down the flow of data to the mind that it cannot compute, and yet the records are there, so you will replay them. You now have the ability to compute many things because you have to learn to be neutral, not judge what you have participated in. As you explore your current body, identity, and lifetime, do it quickly. You not have years to study them. As the information in your DNA is retooled and replugged in, you'll be able to feel how the events from this life connect, the blossom and a thread and purpose with different places that you have lived in, many different identities you have occupied. Ideally, you'll move out of judgment, and because you'll be able to pick out of the story what really happened, which you will experience firsthand through many cellular. The only way you can step into this higher frequency and determine the future of your lives on this planet is not to judge your participation within this process. This is very complex and very important. Feel what we just said. The process involves smashing an existing paradigm and becoming a heretic of reality. You'll begin to understand that legitimate, real existence has simply been hidden from you. It is imperative that you begin to remember who you are. You are not alone. You cannot do this alone, even when you say that you are the standard bearer of the soul. There are other aspects of yourself that have figured out the story and are coming back to this time period to create the vortex of energy that is going to affect all realities. We cannot emphasize enough the importance of these times and excitement and joy of what we hold as long as you are willing to change. If you're not willing to change and not willing to give things up, then you have to go through experiences that will be less than joyful. All of you will have certain things you will not want to give up. This may be the difficulty, for each of you has your own area of clutching and clinging, and yet each of you came to do something here that you could get on with your travels and with what your soul is craving to experience. It is as if you have unfinished business here. The veil that many of you was pulled down very tightly so that you would not fly away and say, "What am I doing here? I'm out of here." Those of you who understand the higher realms have many times felt alone here upon this planet. There are millions of you at this time forming a tremendous support group. You're beginning to meet and find one another, and you're beginning to thread your consciousness, one fine silk strand with another stranded consciousness. You see a most beautiful creation come together without great effort, because it is part of a plan, and you are moved to do certain things. The whole planet has been controlled in such a way that you have been taught and trained from this time you first arrived here that you are not in control of your own reality. You have been taught that everything is circumstantial and that everything depends on something that you have no say in. This is wrong. You are the one who controls your DNA. You have complete control over everything. Until you discover that and believe it, you are subject to whatever anyone else wishes to do to you in this free will zone, and in your innocence you have been exposed to things that have allowed your DNA, your intelligence, and many other things to be controlled. Well, we don't like the control that's being put on, so it's very important, as you understand, at least I hope you do through this, why it is important that we get control of our own bodies and what we're about. All right, article here in 5D, Understanding the Fifth Dimension by Ridge Keough. The fifth dimensional reality is becoming a frequency in which humanity is growing into every day. Our sights, smells, tastes are all changing as we raise our vibration to match that of the fifth dimension. Heightened states of awareness, compassion, and knowing and knowledge are all just beginning to flourish as our sensory systems align with higher frequencies. We gain more awareness of the multitude of dimensions. To be cognitively engaged in the fifth dimension allows us the ability to peer into that dimension. It does not mean that we are functioning in that dimension, just our thoughts, believing you are grasping the reality of it. Let's get a brief understanding of how we get to the fifth dimension. Dimensional light in the 3D world. If the 3D world is all a hologram or illusion, we are never fully engaged in that dimensional field, but rather we are superimposed on it like a shadow. If we partake of each dimension like a shadow, what happens when we shine our light on ourselves and on the dimension? Science says that light exists in two states. simultaneously. Electromagnetic waves and linear stream of particles called photons. Light is nothing more than an electromagnetic frequency, a dimension that is temporarily interacting with another dimension, which is why it can have two states simultaneously. Light actually is able to exist in all dimensions simultaneously. However, this cannot be proved yet. We're just experiencing as light as a result of these states of energy, just like all three dimensions existing in the same point in space. So does the many dimensions of light. Like the human experience of light we know so well is nothing more than a diffraction of this composition. Our illumination on this matter is just a grain of sand in the galaxy. What happens when our belief system is struck hard enough to crack the very grain of sand and rearrange the atomic structure? When we have duality, the journey of the soul is perceived by a three-dimensional construct and limited to dark and light, as above so below. The part of the galaxy you are in holds such duality. Even the nature of your being is duality. Just skip ahead here. It says each dimension exists for different reasons, with no two alike. It is speculated that an infinite number of dimensions exist in a vacuum called space. They all have their own rules, behaviors, interweaving with each other, yet never touching. Some are superhighways for energy, while others are constructs to have an experience. Whatever the reason for the dimension is beyond our scope of understanding. To try to explain would be like taking a spaceship to a person in the 12th century. Alright, then it goes into the 6 dimensions, and then evolution through frequencies. As we raise our vibration, we tell our spirit that we are evolving and we are ready to receive more light. When we are working in the first 3 dimensions, we can only send information to spirit and not receive it back. This is how the veil works, and it has been done through magnetics and intention. Your light was used in the creation of the veil. You and billions of other beings came together to create this magnetic field. The dynamics need to partake in Gaia. You decided to keep your DNA in 2 states, separated by the veil and held for you by Gaia into the crystal cave Akasha. It's easy to take the DNA, separate the 12 layers we used, magnetism and tension. The hard part is understanding that there are 12 layers. The dimensions, lights, planets, everything is here to help us have experience. We don't need to label all of the minutes or minutia or try to figure everything out. We can't when we are coming from the 3D perspective. What we can do is work on our lessons and come from a loving, compassionate place. Life in the dimensions, as we understand them, are a mirror to our personal experience. No 2 fingerprints or experience are alike. Enjoy the ride knowing that there are many parts of you in many dimensions doing the same. Okay? Good article. I briefed through it. The article will be available at firstcontactradio.com. Having trouble with the site right at the moment, but in the next couple hours it will be back up and running normally. I don't know why it keeps having problems, but it keeps having problems. Alright, this brings us up to our message for today, which is called Heaven Letter. Here we go.
Heaven Letters / Life gives you a chance. Heaven Letter 5017, published on August 20, 2014. God said, when you look at life one way, how can you not be happy with all the blessings that are thrown at you? When you look at life another way, how can you help but be unhappy with the curves that life has thrown at you? And there is much in between ecstatic and sorrowful. There is disappointing, there is let down, and there is so-so. If you could soak in the treasure that life on earth is, you would be elated all the time. You would know that life on earth is remarkable, an amazing thing, and that you are here populating and receiving all the wonders of it. You would be amazed at all the connections and intersections and seeming coincidences and returns and bounces and delights and surprises and the myriad of twists and turns and turn-arounds. Who on earth could possibly think up all the stories in life, even in one person's life? Who could write such stories? Who could keep writing them and another and another? Your life is a serial that goes on and has no ending. Like waves in the ocean, there is another chapter and another on into infinity. Life is more than story, of course, you recognize that. And, yet, you are most interested in the story and how it will come out even for a while. You've got to know. You are impelled to come to some kind of understanding or conclusion. When will the prince come? When will true love be declared? When will life amount to what you want? Why is there loneliness and unfulfillment and heaviness? As you see it, why not always light and loveliness? Here's the thing. Even as stories disappoint and certainly aren't the culmination of your life, you count on them. You would whip the stories into shape if you could. You would wring the last drop out of them. As it is, you think the stories of your life amount to a weather vane that tells what direction the wind is coming from. You consider the stories as an assessment of how you're doing, as if the stories rank you, yet it is you who ranks yourself. In fact, you do write the stories. You base your story on what has happened so far. You continue your story from where you left off. I have besought you to drop the past. If you would drop the past and stop mulling it over, if you would stop drawing conclusions from the past, you would be free to write a whole new storyline, starting today. You would promote different conclusions and different overwhelmings and underwhelmings. As when you breathe in and out, your biology changes. Just as you grow in understanding, your view, your outlook, and your experiences change. This is inevitable. Now this does not happen in a straight line. Your life doesn't change evenly. You think you would like it to, yet evenness palls on you. Confess. Despite your protests, you like variety. You like ups and downs. You like to avoid disaster at the same time as you like to have it to avoid. You like contrast. You like different colors. You call some things great, some okay, and some abhorrent, and you would forbid them. You would like to have the say over life and death, and, in some sense you do. You also like not knowing and to find out as you go along. Let's face it, beloveds, you are an explorer. You like to take chances. That is, you like to have chances before you. You don't really want to know ahead of time. The thing is, you like life. No matter how much you may protest life as it is, you like it. You like life. You love it. Life gives you a chance. It keeps you in suspense. Heaven Letter 5017 published on August 20, 2014.
Alright, good message there. And that brings us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Let's see, I don't know if you're seeing these things here. I hope that you are. Let's get over to this. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. And another deep breath. And exhale. Now, I want you to imagine that you're walking down a path. And as you're walking down this path, all of your chakras are activated from the bottom of the spine up. Red at the bottom of the spine. Orange above that at the belly button. Yellow just below the rib cage in the solar plexus area. Green at the heart center. Blue at the throat. Indigo at the third eye. Violet at the crown chakra. And the light continues on. And as it does, I want you to imagine several feet above your head connecting in with the chakra number 8. And then it continues on above that and connects in with another chakra, chakra number 9. And the light continues on further yet. And it connects into the 10th chakra. Continuing further into the cosmos, the 11th chakra, and finally deep, deep, deep in the solar system, the 12th chakra. And we find ourselves connected multidimensionally, energetically through our chakra system. And we just imagine all of this information that we need making itself available to us. We find that the connections we need to understand and the ease and making this connection is something that happens effortlessly as we all are prepared and ready to make this next step in our evolution. So just imagine yourself feeding off the energy of the universe as it flows through you effortlessly and abundantly. And just allow this energy to circle through your being and just move back into the universe, be recycled for others as well. So let's go through the world today. Just make it very easy and simple just to experience the energy, experience the evolution and the change in the consciousness of the day. So let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment. Let our subconscious mind continue on this journey. As it does, contemplate the affirmation for today. I deserve all the good things that come to me. I deserve all the good things that come to me. And just imagine the good things coming into your life. Intend that this is how you choose to live your life, by having good come into life, good positivity. And intend that good and positive things happen to other people's lives as well. And just think of the word positivity. And as you do, let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show for today. Thank you very much for being here. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, keep loving yourself. I love you. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here.